I'd advise you to watch it back because I would not put it past them for us to wake up one day and hear some wild story about Usha in a car accident or overdosed on. You dig what I'm saying? Again, like old girl said in the video, we would be suspicious.
Very, very dear friend and his wife.
Would it surprise you if I told you that J.D. Vance is a warlock? He is from Appalachia, and his manifestation skills are on point.
Won't they do? Won't they do? Chin up, head up. Won't they do? Chin up, head up. Won't they do?
And straight like that, we back, man. How everybody doing out there in TV land, TV world? I hope everybody doing well, doing swell. As for me, I cannot complain, me, myself, and I. As I always say, man, if you like what I'm doing, like and subscribe to the content, give me an algorithm, and I will go accordingly. You dig what I'm saying? Now, without too much rigmarole, you know what I'm saying? Too much tomfoolery in and around. We gonna jump right on into this thing because honestly, I'm afraid. You dig what I'm saying? I'm afraid for one of the people that I'm about to speak about in this video. Now, you know, I don't agree with the stances of everybody out here and things, but I don't want to see anything untoward happen to somebody, and we see it a lot these days as it pertains to the political world that we currently reside in. You dig what I'm saying? And so, you know, things happen out here though, so we got to keep our head on a swivel. And so, you know, here about last week, couple days ago, or what have you, this happened. My bad, folks. That happened some years ago. But I was referring to this right here. Yeah. What you just saw is what is known as the embrace. The embrace heard clear around the world. You dig what I'm saying? In that embrace, you had a one, and in the photo as well, you had a one J.D. Vance, formerly known as James Donald Bowman. Born on August 2nd, 1984 to Beverly Carol Akins and Donald Ray Bowman. After his mother's third husband, Bob Hamill, adopted him, his name was changed to James David Hamill. This change occurred to remove his biological father's name and incorporate his Uncle David's first name. 3. Later, his surname was changed back to Vance. His mother's maiden name, after his maternal grandparents, James and Bonnie Vance, became his primary caregivers. When he entered politics in July 2021, he began using J.D. Vance as his moniker. You dig what I'm saying? And now we also, more on him later. Now, we also had in that a forever famous Erica Kirk. If you don't know Erica Kirk was the former wife, current wife. I don't know how we terminologize this thing when, you know, you got I don't know. Charlie Kirk. Let's just put it like that.
We've basically told a great generation of young women, don't get married, don't have kids, go get a corporate job, and it's created mass political hysteria. And then in their early 30s, they get really upset because they say, you know, the boys don't want to date me anymore because they're not at their prime. And people get mad when I say that. Well, it's just true. If you're in your early 30s, I'm sorry. It's like you're not as attractive in the dating pool as you were in the early 20s. But again, you have your corporate job and cats, so I thought you know.
I would have you know that she was 31 years old when her and Charlie got married. Now, there's a little more on Erica. Where she come from, her background, what she's all about. Erica gained a lot of attraction in 2012 when she won the title of Miss Arizona, a pageant owned by Donald Trump. This was the time when she came close to Donald Trump. She was considered one of the top models that Donald Trump had at the time. Thereafter, her closeness to Trump and his family kept growing. Accounts related to Erica and Charlie's marriage are also conflicting. You dig what I'm saying? So that is a little background on Miss Erica Kirk, but we have more on her later. Now, also, in one of those photos, you saw a young lady, I guess at 39, I can still call her a young lady, it's okay, by the name of Usha Vance.
And his wife.
My bad again. That's Erica Kirk. That's not Usha Vance. This is Usha Vance. Beautiful lady. Smart lady. But unfortunately for Miss Usha Vance, she's not a Christian.
It's funny, Usha was not raised Christian, is actually not Christian. Oh, really? Yeah.
Oh, yes. And therein lies the problem, people. Therein lies the problem. You're going to figure out what I'm talking about as I lay this out as we go down the path. Keep in mind that Usha Vance is not of the Christian religion like a one J.D. Vance. You dig what I'm saying? And now, I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly what faith system J.D. Vance, James, David, Bowman Cars, I don't know what to call him. I'm not sure what he practices and what he does inside of his own home, but there are accounts out there that say he's a warlock from Appalachia.
Would it surprise you if I told you that JD Vance is a warlock? He is from Appalachia, and his manifestation skills are on point, okay?
Happy Halloween, kids, and remember, say thank you.
And now I can neither confirm nor deny these rumors, these assertions that they're putting on this man. I can just say what I've seen him look like out here in the world, the transformations that I can document, and he may be a warlock. You dig what I'm saying? But he's apparently scooting himself up to someone who's also plugged into the Matrix, if you will.
How did your mom choose Phoenix?
So she chose to move to Phoenix from Ohio because there was more of an opportunity for a female business owner out here, especially from the standpoint of she was getting involved with the government, so Homeland Security and Department of Defense. And so she had other business partners that were out here that were already in that industry, even one that was a mentor of hers. So it was really convenient to be able to come all together in one place to really have that. But my father ended up moving out here as well because my grandparents had a home out in Sun City. And so it took a little bit to get everyone out here. It took several years, but by that time everyone was out here. So we had a little bit more family than just us.
Now, I've got some information later on that details exactly what her parents, what type of businesses and what type of job professions that her parents were in. But again, sounds like somebody that's been pretty affluent her whole life. Got some people plugged into the Matrix, if you will, for the purpose of this episode. We'll call it the Matrix. And you know what I mean? Sound like a heavy hitter. Somebody had it going on well before she got into cahoots with Charlie Kirk, or in bed cahoots. I don't know what the hell you want to call it. You dig what I'm saying? But when you take that person, you know what I'm saying, and JD, you put them together and you just kind of see what type of a power couple that would make, it makes me afraid for a one Usha Vance. Because again, you saw in that video earlier, that was a very uncomfortable embrace, bro, like for somebody that's married. But we're going to go a lot deeper into that. You dig what I'm saying? Now, I'm not the only one to echo these sentiments, man. You know what I'm saying? People are like, baby, keep your head on the swivel because, you know, these folk do anything out here these days.
Right now, everybody's talking about how JD Vance and Erica Kirk are getting a little too comfortable and that Usha's relationship might be in danger. But I'm mostly seeing people like, oh, Usha, leave your man, like that sort of stuff. I'm worried. And listen, I know she's not a good person. I obviously know that. But I'm worried, like woman to woman, that they're going to try to pull a fucking Princess Diana on her. Like she's going to like die this tragic, mysterious death. But we're all going to know. We're all going to know that it was just for him to get to Erica. Like JD Vance has already said that Usha doesn't have the same like religious ideals as he does, and that man's a Christian nationalist. You know who else is a Christian nationalist? Erica Kirk. And what racist America really wants to see right now is two people of full Aryan blood together. They need their white prince and princess to come together and rule the kingdom as one. Because once Trump is gone, because we know he doesn't have much time left, once Trump is gone and JD Vance is going to be the one to be in power, you really think they want eyeliner guy who's been memed the fuck out, who fucks couches, who has an Indian wife? You think they're going to want that? No, they're not going to allow that. They're not going to want that because we're talking about white supremacy here. Him being with Erica would save his image because she is like the princess right now. They are going to want two Christian nationalists. So Usha babe, you might need to run. You might need to flee the country. And I know that I sound like a conspiracy theorist, and I don't like to be a conspiracy theorist, but if I'm fucking right about this, one person at least owes me $5.
Holy shit, they are trying to replace Usha Vance with Erica Kirk. because Erica Kirk and JD Vance is their Christian nationalist wet dream. And you won't convince me otherwise. What is this? What is this body language? When did we start putting our hands up in the hair of our friends when we hug? Yeah, no, you don't. This is weird. Oh, and then there's this one. JD, why are your hands so low? There's no reason for them to be on her hips, but there they are.
And so you see that TikToker there. She hit the nail on the head, man. We've seen this before. And from what we're seeing shaping up, it is not a stretch of the imagination to think that Usha Vance could be in some type of danger, man, because as I put my thoughts together, now I'll put my entire thoughts together once we could get to the end of this thing. But that they would love to see that type of couple put together. And as I spoke on her religion, Usha Vance, earlier in the video, when you hear JD Vance come out and make statements like this, it raises your eyebrows.
Everybody has to come to their own arrangement here. The way that we've come to our arrangement is she's my best friend. We talk to each other about this stuff. So we decided to raise our kids Christian. Our two oldest kids who go to school, they go to a Christian school. Our 8-year-old did his first communion about a year ago. That's the way that we have come to our arrangement. But thank you. My 8-year-old was also very proud of his first communion. Thank you, guys. I'll tell him that Old Miss wishes him the best. But I think everybody has to have this own conversation when you're in a marriage. I mean, it's true for friends of mine who are in Protestant and Catholic marriages, friends of mine who are in, atheist and Christian marriages. You just got to talk to the only advice I can give is you just got to talk to the person that God has put you with, and you've got to make those decisions as a family unit. For us, it works out. Now, most Sundays, Usha will come with me to church. As I've told her and I've said publicly, and I'll say now in front of 10,000 of my closest friends, do I hope eventually that she is somehow moved by the same thing that I was moved in by church? Yeah, I honestly do wish that, because I believe in the Christian gospel, and I hope eventually my wife comes to see it the same way. But if she doesn't, then God says everybody has free will. And so that doesn't cause a problem for me. That's something you work out with your friends, with your family, with the person that you love. Again, one of the most important Christian principles is that you respect free will. Usha's closer to the priests who baptized me than maybe I am. They talk about this stuff. My attitude is you figure this stuff out as a family, and you trust in God to have a plan, and you try to follow it as best as you can. And that's what I try to do.
Now, that would beg the question. I would imagine a hillbilly from the Appalachian Mountains. I would imagine he's always been a Christian. He's always been of the Christian faith, right? Well, he met his wife Usha in law school when she was a practitioner of whatever religion that she is now, Hindu. I want to say something like that. Let me not misquote it. I don't hold me to knowing all the definitions of all these different religious sects. Don't hold me to that. But was it a question? Was it a want? Was it a need, a desire of you to have her convert to your religion? Before you married her, while you've been married. In fact, if you look at this picture, it looks like you were more along the lines of converting to her way of thinking, her way of rocking out here, her belief system, than you've ever mentioned to her coming over to your side. You dig what I'm saying? But when you talk about a person with a million names and, plenty of flip-flopping in the past.
I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him. It makes you think that at a fundamental level, this is sort of a he said, she said, right? And at the end of the day, do you believe Donald Trump, who always tells the truth? Just kidding. Or do you believe that woman on that tape?
I cannot stand Trump because I think he's a fraud. Well, I think he's a total fraud that is exploiting these people, who is a total fraud.
Like you said, I agree with you on Trump because I don't think that he's the person. I don't think he actually cares about folks.
Definitely, there is definitely an element of Donald Trump support that has its basis in racism or xenophobia. I think there's a chance, if I feel like Trump has a really good chance of winning, that I might have to hold my nose and vote for Hillary Clinton. I think that I'm going to vote third party because I can't stomach Trump. I think that he's noxious and is leading the white working class to a very dark place.
This is an evolution, and I know you've been asked about this before, about past comments that you've made about Donald Trump. You've said, I'm a never Trump guy, never liked him. terrible candidate, idiot if you voted for him, might be America's Hitler, might be a cynical a-hole, cultural heroine, noxious and reprehensible.
And then you see pictures like this from a one J.D. Vance. An excerpt from Hillbilly Elegy that read, he describes childhood confusion over his sexuality, believing that he was gay due to non-traditional interests before his grandmother reassured him otherwise. It also references emails from his Yale law friend, Sophia Nelson, a transgender attorney, showing Vance attended a 2015 San Francisco Pride event, describing it as like a frat party and expressing sentiments like I love you and I hate cops during their decade-long friendship. Now, I can neither confirm nor deny all of these different accusations and emails and screenshots and this, that, and the third. I can just report on them as I see them out here in the world, whether they're being rebutted, this, that, and the third. The pictures look to be real. Hillbilly Elegy, the book, is definitely real. This lady is a real lady. She's a lawyer. So that'd be a lot against, trying to say that all these people are lying and JD's form of truth or this side of the flop that he's on instead of the flip is the place to be. You dig what I'm saying to you right now, peoples. So now let's bring this back to where what kicked off all the hubbub. You understand what I'm saying? Because we have someone that's done a thorough breaking down of this thing, man, and to point out some interesting areas in which to focus your attention.
I am tremendously blessed and honored tonight to be able to introduce to you a very, very dear friend. A very, very dear friend. His wife. No one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in Jeannie.
Okay, now so let's start to bring this thing home. Now, for those of you that are married out there, I'm not married. You know what I'm saying? I got lady friends, things like that. You dig? So none of them could say anything if they saw me on camera being embraced by a female like that. But for those of you that are married, and answer me this. Is there ever a situation where your wife would see that being done to you by another female and not completely cuss your ass out, be highly mad, already pissed off at you by the time you get home? You dig what I'm saying? And what, like they said, at what point do we get to caress in the back of people's necks and things as friends? Did you see how she was gushing and when she was introduced? Just like she wanted to just drop down, you feel me, and give me 50 right there. She wanted to drop down and give me 50. Huh? Who? In front of the camera, she had to catch herself. Like, damn, I sounded like I just want to drop down and give him 50 just then. Let me make sure I tell him I ain't thinking about fucking him right now in my head. I'm still in love with y'all. She tried to throw it out there. It was cringe-worthy at its best. Hand placements is weird. Look like it's some rubbing and touching and some just too close for comfort on such a prime time stage. Just really messy, bro. But when you see how people operate out here, man, it would not be beyond you to consider the fact that there may be something going on, some smoke to these flames. Yeah, ain't been some fire somewhat what is smoke we seen. You dig what I'm saying? Especially, when you see JD Vance have such an awkward interaction such as this.
Former White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki made some comments suggesting that your wife, the Second Lady, needed to be saved from you. How do you feel about comments like that being made while you're here with the Second Lady?
Oh, I think it's disgraceful, but of course the Second Lady can speak for herself, and I'm very lucky to have a wonderful wife, and I know, or at least I hope that my wife feels the same about me, but we are very lucky to have this journey, or I should say I'm very lucky to go on this journey with a very loving wife. We're going to keep on serving the country together, and I'm honored to have Usha by my side on this trip in particular, but always.
I hope that my wife feels the same about me. At least I can say that I am lucky to be on this journey with her. Now you can take there's some apologetic statements. I take them as some wishy-washy. I take it as some seeds being planted. Oh no, she's not happy with me. You know what I'm saying? She's not elated to be on this journey with me. She does not want to convert to my religion, although this apparently hadn't been a problem since we've been together. But now that, I'm looking up at the top and imagining myself going there and seeing a power couple that just, opened up to be available in my eyes, there's cracks in the pavement, if you will. You understand what I'm saying? So I thought that was a pretty telling interview, man. Or I don't want to say interview, just a couple of questions, but the way he answered them, he was just thrown off. You know what I'm saying? Now, you've got people like, should I even include this person, man? You got people like Candace Owens and various others are throwing stones about the involvement of the Israeli government and what happened to Charlie, and that Charlie was having some alternate emotions as it pertains to the Israel and Hamas war over there and all of this, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? But as far as it's a funny connection there when it comes to Charlie and Erica, and I'll let her explain that to you.
Just know that nothing is by mistake. Nothing. I will never forget the time I was in Israel with my husband. Well, that was the second time, but the first time with my mother on a pilgrimage. And I was standing in the ticket line. And I remember looking behind me, and in the snake of the ticket line was a guy who looked very familiar. I had no idea who he was. And I told my mom, this guy looks so familiar. And as a typical mother, she said, go and say hi. No. We were late for our flight, and I'm not going to come off like a crazy person that's just weird. That ended up being Charlie. Nothing is by coincidence. Now, did we know that? No, not until we were like 3 months into our relationship and looking at timestamps, seeing that both of us were in Israel at the same time. But nothing is by coincidence.
Yeah, so she says there, I was doing a pilgrimage in Israel, standing in line with my mom. We're already late for the plane, standing there ready to board. I turn and glance over my right shoulder. There stands a figure. Someone that I know, I've seen him before. Mom says, hey, go be a slur. No, mom ain't said that, but I'm saying, mom was ready to go and tell her go throw that ass in the circle. She said it. So mom said, hey, go on over there and holler at him. You dig what I'm saying? This is what you've been looking for. That's why we over here in Israel try to kick one of you. Get your ass and throw that ass in the circle. That's what mom said. She said, no, mom. We're late for the plane already. I'm not about to go throw this ass in the circle. We're going to move along. She eventually down the line met Charlie. There's stories that she was, placed with Charlie through the Trump and his pageants, and this is what she's been looking for her whole life. But she says, eventually down the line they met, and then when they lined up times that they were in Israel at the same time, they came to the understanding that they were looking at each other, and this was just destiny out of the gate. You understand what I'm saying? And so, boom. That's how they got together. Now, there's been a lot of chatter about Israel and Charlie Kirk, you know what I'm saying? And it's kind of hard to avoid the accusations or, not try and connect the dots when you hear interviews like this.
So your last meeting with Charlie, where'd you guys leave it? Was it, okay, here's the talking points he's going out with, or was it going to keep talking?
Yeah. Meaning, and it was like, and it wasn't about like this is what you should say, which is how it's being portrayed by by the conspiracy theorists, like I'm some sort of Mossad handler. It was more like talking through the issues and Charlie asking questions and Charlie then saying, okay, I think I'm going to approach this issue this way, and this is going to be my position on it, and formulating his positions, which weren't necessarily the positions I would want him to take, even, meaning he was. Let's say his, whether it's his position on U.S. aid to Israel, which I'm opposed to U.S. aid to Israel. I want it to be drawn down, and Prime Minister Netanyahu has said he wants it to also. Charlie would probably have that done more quickly than I would. So I'm not saying that he would just like take my position on everything, but we talked through how to talk about why is Israel actually an American interest? Why is it in America's interest to support Israel? And I don't think he was convinced by some of the arguments that I was making. I was just sort of sharing different approaches to it, but not just approaches that I think or that Israelis think or that the Israeli government thinks, but more like working with Charlie to formulate a position that he'd be comfortable with. Because I understand where he's coming from politically, and I understand the nuances of what's going on in the Middle East and with Israel. So I could help him formulate a position. It's basically sharing my opinions. Charlie is a listener. Charlie was a listener. He wanted to hear all opinions. The open marketplace of ideas was like a core fundamental, more than belief, and it was kind of like his existential core. Was he believed in that? He believed in the open marketplace of ideas, which is why he annoyed people like you and me by platforming Tucker Carlson and whoever else. Because for Charlie, the idea that you're supposed to silence any opinion was anathema. But that came from a place of truth seeking. Do I think he went too far with it? Well, yes. We often, for all of us, our best traits we often have to a fault.
That's a guy that apparently had a very close connection and contact with Charlie Kirk. He said that he's heard the rumors, been accused of being a handler, but he says that his interactions with Charlie Kirk were purely consensual. It's kind of wild to put that word on it, but just a mutual exchanging of ideas, no guiding of the narrative, no handing of notes, no paying of checks, everything on the up and up. But like I say, man, depending on who you listen to, how much you look into, it seems to be two different sides of this thing. But that's an interesting interview and an interesting person to even go out there and even speak that closely about his relationship with Charlie, because you got to know that people will look at that and like, you didn't exactly just deny it. A lot you did, but a lot of things you were saying, like you could closely connect that with people being the handlers and the money pushers and getting these influencers to say and do what they want them to do, in which we've seen instances of that out here in the media world. And so that's the a bit of the murkiness behind Charlie Kirk. But then you read things like this about one JD Vance, and you say, well, what could be behind, his ascension into the ranks, coming from a hillbilly from Appalachia and now the vice president of the United States. So, there's a lot of funny things going on, man. And then when you just look at how acting and fake Miss Kirk seems to be, bro, it sparks some thoughts in your mind.
I want to show you a video of Charlie talking about TPUSA.
Okay.
Well, you're about to embark on something that is much bigger than yourself. So check your ego at the door.
Oh, he looks so good. Sorry, guys. Just give me a second. It's the longest video I've watched of him. Just give me a second.
Charlie was on a mission to save Western civilization. Mm-hmm. Did you know that's what you signed up for?
Well, no, I didn't sign up for anything. I just married the love of my life.
Jesse Waters, one of the most punchable face individuals to ever exist. Did you know you was signing up to become a leader of the new school or some old wild shit, he said. And she says no, and he went into her cry. I didn't know. I just married the love of my life. Give me a second, guys. I haven't watched a video this long of Charlie since when? That shit seemed like, now they cut in the middle, so maybe did she sit there and watch a 27-minute long video of Charlie? Even if she did, would that have been the longest? What dumb statement was that? I don't know, bro. Just everything from her just comes off as just scripted. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not the only one that say it. People inside the movement have a huge problem with how she's moving out here, man. And, you know, to get back to my original underlying point, Usha Vance, you know, for whatever views and stances and opinions you have out here in the world, who you want to get deported, who you don't care about get food stamps, this, that, and the third. I would advise you to, if you haven't already, and I'm sure you have, pay close attention to the happenings in and around the political world, historically and also recently. You understand what I'm saying? And know who you're dealing with. And you know that people inside that movement look at you the same that they look at Vivek Ramaswamy. I like saying Ramaswamy. I saw a lady on TV say Ramaswamy. I think it was a white lady. I think she did it on purpose, but it was fucking hilarious. They look at you the same. Brandon Tatum's and all them. Well, look at y'all the same. But for what we're talking about with Usha Vance, you know, they look at you much in the same. And as fervent as they are for Vance 28 and this, that, and the third, you know, the Stephen Millers of the world and all, you know, the Steve Bannons of the world, I'd advise you to watch your back, because I would not put it past them for us to wake up one day and hear some wild story about Usha in a car accident or overdosed on. You dig what I'm saying? Again, like old girl said in the video, we will be suspicious. But with the current administration, they investigating themselves. And so it will be swept under the rug in a minute. They throw out another wild story the next day to get the news cycle going, and we've heard it all before, bro. Let's not be fooled. So Usha Vance, I'm telling you, JD looked like he out there fucking on Erica Kirk. He is planting seeds that he is not happy with you and your religious choices, although I doubt that there's ever been a conversation in your household pertaining to that. In my opinion, he's publicly showing some signs. And like I said, planting seeds of dissension within the marriage. And so, you know, maybe she'll have a change of heart. I hadn't heard her say anything staunchly Maga. I don't know if she is or not. But in this instance, I'm not going to hold it against her, bro. Because I think she may be dealing with some diabolical individuals. And we've seen it before. So if anybody can get the Usha Vance out there, man, let her know that she might need to go get her body double or BBL or something. Get out here in these streets. Because them boys might try to slide her up out of here, bro, and replace her with the one Erica Kirk. Although there's so many people on it now, they may have messed it up and there's too many eyes on it. But that's just my public service announcement, my good deed for the day. And until I'm ready to come back and do another one, it's been straight like that. I'm out.